Welcome back, guys. I'm Victor, and in this video we will create this form. So basically all the data from this form is going to be sent to the email we will specify in the email field. And I clicked on the submit button by mistake but you can see that there's a kind of a validation. It's a very primitive validation. I know the styling, the CSS is also not very rich, but I think for this example this is going to be more than enough. And just to tell you a little bit about the process of sending this email, whenever we click on the submit button and we filled up the fields, all this data from these fields is being sent to an API, and then on that API server side we process the data there, and then we send it using the Gmail SMTP server, and we will create that API in this video as well. So just to show you how it works, let me say here the name is John, and then the email is my email, and then as a message I will say hi. Hi, I'm John. And if I click submit, we reset the fields, and then we get another notification which is saying the message has been sent. Now if I open my email, I see there's a new email coming from smtp@gmail.com, and then we have all the information from this form. So let's go ahead and get started. We will use PHP to create that API from the server side, but I think we will start with the React app, and then we will create the API. So let me just create a new. I already created a new React app by typing in create React app, and then I named it React email. I just did that for the sake of time, guys, because it's taking a while for my laptop to generate all these files. So I'm gonna navigate to that folder, which is React email, and then I'm gonna open my VS Code in this folder. Alright, I got it here. Now I'm gonna start the npm. I'll type in here npm start like this, press enter, and this is gonna open up a new tab in my browser with a new React app. And again, I'm sorry for the delay. It's taking a while. My laptop is really slow, but it should work. So there you go. It looks like this. It's React app. Now what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna open my source folder, and then in the app CSS file I will delete everything. Now if I didn't mention, I'm gonna leave a link to the source code in the description of this video, from where you can copy some of the code you won't be able to see, or just to copy. Because if you want to follow along with me, I would recommend you copy all the CSS from the app CSS file from the source code and paste it here, because I'm not gonna type in everything from scratch just for the sake of time. And okay, so I pasted it here. I saved this file. Now I'm gonna close it, and then in my app.js file I'm gonna remove the logo SVG from here. And then I'm gonna remove everything I have in the app class, and then here we will have another component. I will create a component and I will name it form. So let's do that in the source folder, new folder, components, and then in this folder I'm gonna create a new file which is gonna be form.js, and then I'm gonna import it. Actually, let's do it here. Let's say import React from React, and then this is gonna be a class. So let's say class form extends. Actually forgot here to add the component. Alright, so this class extends the component, and then we will have here a render function, and then return. I'm gonna have an empty wrapper, and I will say hi, and then let's export it. Export default form, and I will save it. And now in app.js I'm gonna import it here. So import form from components/form, and then in our app class we will have form. We will call this component. Now if I save it and if I open my browser, we have hi here. It's at the center of the page because of the CSS I pasted there. Now in our form.js, here is all the functionality, and let's start with, we will have a state here. So state, and then in the state we will have a name, and then we will have the email, message, and we will have the email status. So we will have email status empty. The email status is gonna store the notifications or the status we will get from the email API, from that API. In case there is an error or something like that, we will store everything in this state. Alright, now here let's create a form in our return function, and this form is gonna be it's gonna have a class. The class name is form block. So if you look in our where's that, app CSS, so we have the app class here, the form block, and then we have labels, styling for labels. What am I doing here? We have the styling for input type text, for text area, and then for the submit button. In this case, this form block is going to be used for our form. So here we will have a actually, let's do that, a div class. So I'm gonna delete all this wrapper I have here. So, and then we'll have div class name, and the class name is gonna be form block. Alright, okay, and then here in this div we will have the form. So we'll have form, and here we will have the labels. So we'll have label, and then here we'll have input type text, and we will have the value. There's going to be a value and a placeholder. So let's add the placeholder. Let's say name. Let's close it, and then we will have a handle change. So whenever we will type in something here, a method is going to be called, which is going to store all this data from the fields into the state. So we will have on change, and we will have to create a method which is going to be in this class, which is going to be handle change, and we will send as a parameter the field name. Alright, and then we want to create two more fields. For one is going to be for the email, and then another one for the text area. So here we have email, placeholder email, and then here email. We'll have another input type. Actually, this is going to be a text area, but it's going to have a placeholder which is going to say message, and this is going to be text area. Okay, it looks good. Now let's We forgot to add another label for the submit button, so let's do it really quick. We have here input type submit, and we have class name. There's a class name if you save in the CSS file, which is submit button, and then we have value submit. All right, let's close this tag. Let's save it and let's see what we have on the page. Okay, there's an error just because we didn't create handle change yet. So let's go back and let's create that below our state, and then let's leave a comment here. Let's name this handle change. Handle change. So we will use ES6 here, and we have handle change, and then of course we will get the input, and then we will get the event like this, and then we will have this set state. We will update the state with the information from our field. So we have set state, and here we have the input, because if you pay attention, we're trying to match the name we have in the field in the parameter of the handle change to match with the name from the state. So that's why we're using input here, because whatever we have here, this means this is the state name. So we have name, email, and the message. That's why we put here input like this. Handle change, and I forgot to make it an error here. So we have input, and then we have target event. Okay, and that should be good to go. Let's save it. And now if we go back, we see this actually the style and the CSS. I probably didn't mention there the type, email type, so I'll put here text just to fix it quick. Okay, so we have the form here. Now if we fill it up, I'm just gonna inspect it just to show you. I installed the React extension on my browser, and then that's why I have here the components tab and profiler. So if I click on form, this is showing me the state. Now if I type in and then name something, it's actually saying undefined for some reason. Okay, so I probably messed up something there. Let's check it out. Handle change, on change. That's because it should be not event but value. I don't know how I messed up that. Okay, now it should work. So if I'm going to the components, if I type in something in the name, we see this information is saving in the state. If I have Victor, and then the message actually is messed up with the name, needs to be message here. Sorry guys, it's being a long day. Alright, so now it seems to work. Okay, we have the name, RGFDS, this is the message, and then FSG is the email. Alright, everything works fine till now. Okay, so the next step is gonna be the value. We want to add here the value for these fields, and the value is gonna be the state. So whatever we insert here, it's gonna be saved in the state, and then from the state we will output it as a value in the field. We need that because whenever we will send the data, we want to reset the fields. So let's do that. In our render function, we'll have const this state just to avoid typing in all for each state this state in this case. And then here we'll have name, email, and message like that. Okay, and then here we have value, name, and then here we'll have value, email, and we'll have here value, message. Okay, let's save it. Let's make sure we don't have any errors. Everything looks fine. Okay, now it's time to create the submit method. So whenever we click on the submit button, all this data needs to be sent to an API, because right now it's refreshing. It shouldn't be refreshing it. So in wherever we have our form tag, we need to add another tag here, which is gonna be the it's gonna be an event. It's gonna be on submit event. So we have on submit, and it's gonna be equal to this submit form, and we will create this method submit form right below our handle change. And then we have submit form like this, and I think we should, if I'm not mistaken, I will probably add the event here too, because we want to prevent the default submission of this form so it doesn't reload the page. So we will have e.prevent default. Okay, and then we'll have console log. I want to log the state here. State is not defined. Let's put this state. Let's see here. I'm going to console now. Whenever I'll submit, if I click on the submit button, the page doesn't refresh anymore because we prevent it by default here. We prevent the event. So let me refresh the page, and I'll put here John, and email is gonna be victormail.com, and then hi here. So if I click submit, all this data is being sent to that submit form method. First of all, it's been stored in the local state, and then from there we just console log all the data here. Alright, so everything works fine to this point. Now the next step is to create the API, because here we need to insert the API. Let's actually create this functionality to and with the API address and everything, and then we will create the API. Now here we want to create a new XML HTTP request because we will send the data to that API. So let me comment out this console log. Now here we create comment, create a new XML HTTP request. Okay, oops. So here we will have a variable which is going to be xhr, which is to XML HTTP request, and then we'll assign a new object which is going to be the XML HTTP request. Okay, and then here we will get a callback when the server responds. So let's leave a comment, get a callback when the server responds. And here we're using the xhr variable, so xhr dot, we have add event listener, and then we have on load. All right, and then we have comma. It's a function here, ES6 function, and here we just isolate it. So here we have here we get the response from the server, and whenever we get the response here, we will update the state. So let's do that. Let's leave a comment here and let's say update the response state. Okay, let's leave it like that. We can actually put this email status here like this. So let's update the email status with the response, and here we'll have this set state blah 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 blah. We'll do that later. Now here below we want to indicate what API needs to be open, so we have xhr dot open, and here we indicate the method, which is get in this case, and then here we have the API, and this API is going to be on one of my subdomains. So here we will have HTTP, and it's going to be api.ruvictor.com/send email, and then it's going to be /index.php, and then here we will have the variables from the get method. So we'll have send to equal to, and then we concatenate using the email from the state, because after we insert all the data, it's been stored in the state, so we get the email from the state. And then we have plus here, we will have, and another variable is going to be the name equal to concatenation. Here we have the name, and then we want to send also the message, so we will have and message equal to concatenation, we have message like this. And then after that, below we just send the request here, send the request, and here we have xhr dot send. Alright, so we send the data to this API, we send the request, we actually prepare it, if you can say like that. Here we prepare it and then we send it, and then whenever it's here it needs to be load. Whenever it's load, we get the response here, and the response is gonna be, let's do it, console log. Let's say here we will have xhr, actually xhr dot response text. It's going to be response text. Okay, now let's save it. Message is not defined. XHR is not defined. 33. Okay, just because we didn't add them here, so we should do the same thing we did in our render function. Let's just copy this stuff from here and let's paste it here like this, because we need the data from the state. So if we save it right now, XHR is not defined because I misspelled it here. XHR, let's make it sure everywhere is correct. Okay, missing invoking a constructor 27. 27, I forgot the parentheses here. Sorry about that, guys. I'm really sorry for making all these typos. Okay, I saved it now. Let's go back here, refresh this one more time, because that console error didn't clear out from the previous saved version. So let's do it here, Victor, and then email. Actually, it may work right now. because the API is created there, so I have to delete everything from the API just because I had that demo. So I'm not gonna do anything right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my API. So I log in using the FileZilla. So I logged in there, and I'm gonna delete this index PHP from here, and we have to download. If you don't have Composer, let's say get composer.org. So just type in composer PHP or something like that, and the website is getcomposer.org. Now this getcomposer.org, just download it for there's a button, this download button, and install it. And then after you install it, we will install a PHPMailer library. It's on GitHub too. I will leave the URL in the description too, but you can search like this on Google if you would like to. And here they have the instruction on how to install it and how to use everything from here, all the functionality it has. So let's see how to install it. Okay, so using Composer. All right. So so let me show you how to install it. React, I'm gonna create a folder here. It's gonna be a new folder, and I will name it Composer. Okay, I actually could do that using the CMD from my Windows. Okay, so I have here Composer. Now here in this folder, so just pick a folder wherever you want to install it. We install this library, and then we have to upload it using FTP to our server in the subdomain, on the subdomain where you want to have the API. So we will have to, we should type in, what's that? Composer require PHPMailer / PHPMailer, and just press enter, and this is gonna download the entire folder. So let me do that right now. This may take a while, but it shouldn't be too long. Composer require PHPMailer. Okay, so it's done. Now if I open that folder, React Composer, I have this folder here, and what you want is just take the vendor folder and upload it to your subdomain. You see this vendor folder, I already have it here. I'm not gonna upload it right now because it's already there, and it takes a while until it's uploading because it has a large amount of files. So just do that, and then after you've done with that, just create a new file. So I'm gonna create a new PHP file here, and I will save it in my React folder. It's gonna be index.php. Okay, it's gonna be an empty file. Now using my FileZilla, I'm gonna upload it to the server. So let's see, work React. So I have it here. It's an empty index file. Now I'm gonna open it, and here is gonna be the PHP code for our API. Alright, so I will start with, let me see, first of all, just to avoid the that cross error we get. Actually, I'm gonna leave that like that, so I'll show you what I was talking about. Now, according to the documentation, we have to import, so we have use PHPMailer. What is that here? We have to import these two first. Okay, so we will import them here, and then here, just to make sure we get the only we are using this API, because there may be some people who can see what's the API URL and they can use it to make spam or stuff like that. So just to make sure, just to add some kind of security, we will use a HTTP referrer PHP function. So here, let's get referrer server. So basically what we get here is we get the website from where this API is being called. In our case, it's gonna be called from localhost 3000 port. So we will have if server HTTP underscore referrer. If you need more information about that, just go on Google and search for HTTP referrer PHP. So here we can see that HTTP referrer, the spelling of referrer is an optional HTTP header field that identifies the address of the web page, which is linked to the resource being requested. So this does what I already said. Now, if this is equal to what we have there, HTTP localhost / 3000 / actually here needs to be like this, then we want to do all this functionality from here. Okay, now if you have a Gmail account, this is for our SMTP server. So if you have a Gmail account, we will need the credentials, or you will need the credentials for this server. The credentials for this API, because using those credentials we will be able to send emails from that email account you have right now. I will show you how to do that. So here we have a little validation here. Let's extract all the data from the get method, because if you remember from here, we send the data using the get method, so we should get it here on the API already on the server side from the get method. So we have name, get data from get method, and we have here name, and we assign to the name the value of the name, but there's a kind of isSet, so we have isSet get name. So if we have anything in the get method with the variable name, then we assign to the name variable the data from the get method with the variable name. Otherwise we assign null. Alright, so let me see, just make sure it works. So isSet get name, then we assign the name, otherwise we don't assign anything. So we have for the email and for the message too. So we have here, but just make sure these variables from the get method, they match with the variables you set here. So for the email we have send to. Now I'm gonna use this variables name to use it here. So set send to, and then email, and also message. Alright, now I'm gonna have another if statement which is gonna check, because here if we don't have anything in the get method, we assign a null value, and now we should check if all of these fields, all of these variables got a value different than null, then that means that the user filled up the form, filled up all the fields. So we'll have if name and email and message. Alright, here we have all the functionality for our SMTP. Now we should require the folder I was telling you about, the vendor folder now, because there we have our autoload.php file, this file. We need to include this file right now. So let's do that. We have here require vendor slash autoload.php. Okay, and then here we have mail, and we assign a new object to the mail variable, which is new PHPMailer, and this is true as a parameter. And then below we have the configuration. So if we look here, we have the configuration, which is try. So let's copy everything from here like this, and let's paste it here. Okay, it's right below the mail. Make sure you copy everything below the mail. We already assigned a new object here. Okay, we will need the SMTP debug, let's say host. I'm not gonna need that. Okay, is SMTP, we need that, the host. So as a host, if you go on Gmail, just to show you from where I got all this configuration, Gmail SMTP setup, I guess it's here because I checked a bunch of URLs. Okay, so yeah, you see Gmail SMTP server address smtp.gmail.com. Okay, let's put it here like this. SMTP off, it's true. Now the email and then the secret. So here is your Gmail email, Gmail user, and then we have the Gmail password. So in my case, I've registered an account specifically for this video, so I have smtp vicode@gmail.com, and then I have a password. Let me just copy it and paste it there, and this is the password. So here we have PHPMailer encryption start TTLS. I'm gonna leave it like that. 587 stays like that. Now wherever we have the recipients here, I'm gonna remove add address. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna remove the CC. So it's gonna be just okay. The attachments are gonna be gone. We'll leave the content, HTML through. Okay, mail send. Alright, everything looks good. So set from, now here on this email needs to be the email from where we send this. So I have like that, and then the name, let's say React form, and then add address. This is the email to where we want to send this email. So as we already have it here, it's gonna go to this email we enter in the form. Alright, and then we have add replay to. So here I'm gonna put, I don't know, let's put the same email. Okay, and the information, let's leave information as a name. Content, now here the subject. So the subject is gonna be, I don't know, let's put React form body, and then alt body is gonna be gone. I don't need that. Let's leave it. This is the HTML message. Okay, so here is gonna be all the data. So let's say the name. So we will have name, and then we'll have concatenation here, and we will put name, and then we will have a breaking line, and then here we will have what else? Email, and we will have, of course, concatenation. We have email. Oh my god, guys, I'm so sorry. Email, and then we have another breaking line, and then we have here the message. Like this. So message is gonna be the message, email, and then the name. Okay, everything matches. All right, let's see now. So pretty much everything is working. Let's save it. You know what else? We forgot to add an else statement here. For example, for this, so we have name, email, message. In case all these fields are being filled up, then it's gonna execute this code. Otherwise, we want to output, let's say, all the fields are required. Okay, and then here where we have the server, we check from where the call is coming, the query. We have else, let's do echo. You can't use this server. Alright, let's save it now. I'm gonna confirm it. So if I'll try to, let me try to access this API. So I'll type in here like this. Well, it tells me you can't use this server. Logically, I can't use it. Now in our app, let's go back to our app. I'm gonna refresh it. And let's try to submit the form. Let's make sure we have everything in place. Okay, everything works fine here. Okay, let's type in John and put my email. gmail.com. Hello. Now if I click submit, I get this this error. Course blocked by course policy, no access control allow, origin header is present on the requested resource. So it tells me that no access control allow origin header is present in the source. So that means we should add here access control allow origin. So we should allow any kind of this stuff like this. We have header, and then parentheses, and as a parameter we have all this stuff here: access hyphen control hyphen allow hyphen origin. So we allow any kind of access control allow origin. Now if I save it now, okay, press yes button. Actually, I just want to tell you something. I still got the email though. Let me just delete it now. Okay, I'm gonna delete this now too. So let's refresh it and let's try one more time. Actually, you may get an error. If you get an error right now, let me tell you, I didn't forgot to mention that, but let me do that really quick. Let's see. Okay, so there is this URL, myaccount.google.com/less-secure-app. You might get an error, you might get an email on your email which is saying that somebody was trying to log into your account without having an app or something like that. So I want to show you what kind of error is that, and to do that I need to open another window like this. I don't know why the internet is so slow though. Okay, so I put my email here, and then let me put the password. So this is the email from here, the SMTP email. Okay, now here, if I was, let me deactivate that stuff so you can see what kind of error you will get, and I was talking about. Okay, I turned this off, and now if I'm trying to send an email, okay, if I go back and fill up this form, okay, if I click on the submit, I get an error message from PHPMailer error SMTP could not authenticate. You know, you get an error like this in the console, and then here, actually not here, but here you probably get. So here you get an error like this: sign in attempts was blocked. Someone just used your password to try to sign in to your account for a non-Google app. So what you should do, you should go on the less secure app access. That's what it's called, less secure app access. The URL is myaccount.google.com/less-secure-apps. Then press enter. I'm gonna leave the URL in the description too. And then you press enter, access this page, and click on this, turn it on, because it's off by default. Turn it on. Whenever you turn on, you give access to your SMTP server. Alright, now if we are trying to, let me just close all this stuff. So if we are trying now to send an email, it should work perfectly fine. So we have here Js, hello. Now if I click on submit, I get a message has been sent in the console. Now if I open my email, I see this email is working. I received it from SMTP vycode@gmail.com. Here the information we have, the reply to information, and then we have to what email was sent, and then React form. This is from where we got it. So everything works fine here, guys. This is HTML. Here you can insert anything you want from the server side, or you can send it from your React app to here and then send everything, or you can codificate in HTML, whatever works for you. This is the file. Now we should add notifications. That's one thing we didn't do. So to do that, in our, okay, here we should update the state. So let's do like this. We have this set state, okay, and then we have email status. Let me define it here too, email status, and we have here the response xhr response text. Okay, now having it here in our form, where our form is, right below the form we will have brackets, and we'll have, let's say, email. Oops, let me actually define it here too. So we have email status, and here we have if email status, if it has any kind of data, then we output the email status state. If not, we output null. Okay. Let's say email status is sign a value but never used in form.js 24. We actually don't need it here. All right. Okay. Now if we go back, where's that? Okay, here. Let me delete this. So if I click on the submit button, I get all the notification right here. All the fields are required. Or if I insert, say, John, and then it's an email, put a number, stuff like that, and click submit, it tells me message couldn't be sent, mailer error, invalid address too. So this is email doesn't exist where it's invalid address. Now if I put my email though, everything should work. Okay, I get message has been sent and email is here. Okay, so everything works fine. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like this video and subscribe for my channel. My goal is to step into 2020 with 1,000 subs. So if I'm not mistaken, I need about 160 more subscribers on my channel to reach 8,000 subscribers. Again, don't forget to subscribe for my channel, guys. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next tutorial.